ladies, it's Tuesday, so Muda 1, I'm sorry your computer broke. That sucks. But 2, I have to tell you guys, I just met Anthony Rapp, and that's pretty freaking amazing. I don't know if you guys all know who he is. I would assume that you do, because we've talked about musical theater a lot, but if you don't know, he is the originator of the role of Mark Cohen in Rent, in both of the movie and the original stage play. He's been there from the beginning, and he talked about his experience with Rent and just how that has impacted him and how Rent has impacted not only him but so many other people in such a big way that nobody could have ever foreseen. A lot of the stuff that he talks about in his memoir, which I would highly recommend you read. I read it a few years ago. It's called Without You, and I'll see if I can find a link to it, and I'll put it in the doobly-doo. No, he's not telling me to tell you guys to buy his book, obviously. I just really like it, so I'm going to put a link to it in the doobly-doo so you can find it. I don't know, it was interesting because, one of the things that he talked about is how much of an impact Rent has made, not only, in the LGBT community and, in the community of, people who have been suffering from AIDS and HIV and that kind of thing, and how it made those types of situations more, openly talked about and, aware in a time that it just wasn't talked about as much, and a lot wasn't really known about it at the time. And I think, to me, what's interesting is that, over time, our attitudes towards the issues that Rent raised has changed, but it also raises a lot of other issues. He mentioned that a lot of people saw just in general the theme of overcoming crisis especially resonated with audiences who were viewing it in 2008, 2009, 2010, because that was when the recession was happening. And it's actually really interesting because he didn't mention it, but I remember thinking when he brought that up that Rent is also about people who were very, very poor, and so is the source material La Boheme. That's a big part of what Rent is about, and so it's interesting that that resonated with people in that way. And I think for me as an artist, it resonated on several levels. I remember the first time I saw it, Mark was really a big inspiration to me, just because it raised, his character raises this question of, how do you use your talents and still make money? How do you use your talents and still create the art that you want and make money? Is that a possibility? Is that something that's possible? And unfortunately, I don't think, at least I've only seen the movie, so I don't really know how his story resolves at the end of the musical, but I don't think that story is quite as developed as it could, but I think it raises a lot of really interesting questions. And it's something that we talked about even today in my arts entrepreneurship class. How do you make art your business? Can you make art your business? Is it ethical? Because you get into this whole, I think business has a stigma of, if you're making money, you're doing it because you just want to make money, not necessarily because you actually, believe in what you're doing. So it's interesting, just a lot of questions that it raises in that aspect, and I think it's cool that a piece of art can make that kind of impact, especially since, Rent's been around for, almost 20 years now, and, it's still relevant, even though Anthony mentioned that he considers it a period piece, and I definitely would too, just because it's very much it talks very much about a specific time and about things that were going on and impacted people specifically in the 1980s in communities that, were primarily homosexual and everything. And I think that's very interesting that something that's so specific can make such a global impact. I know I don't have a lot of time, but I really wanted to just kind of bring that question up to you guys, and hopefully we can have some discourse on it. If anybody else wants to also contribute to the conversation, I'm going to be posting this on a lot of different places, so please talk to me about this, because it's something that I would really like to actually get a lot of people's input on. It's something that's come up in conversation today, and I think is really relevant to a lot of people's lives. So yeah, just talk to me about whatever it is. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I know it's vlog week, so I'm interested to see what's going on in your lives, what you guys are thinking, and hopefully this video finds you well. So I'll talk to you guys later.